Hello, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Energize Your Passion. I'm Sunshine, and today I am thrilled to dive into one of my absolute favorite topics, curiosity. Yes, that little spark inside us that make us want to explore, learn, and see the world in a fresh way. We're talking about keeping curiosity alive and making it a powerful force in our lives, whether it's helping you discover new passions, build deeper connections, or even just shake up your daily routine. We all need a little shake every now and then, right? Now, if you're tuning in, chances are you're looking for a little bit of inspiration and positive energy. This episode is all about how curiosity can energize your passion and add excitement and depth to your life. We'll explore curiosity from different angles, breaking it down into segments, as we always do. We'll start with how curiosity ignites our passion, then talk about the fears that sometimes hold us back, and how curiosity can lead us to unexpected places. We'll also chat about staying curious as we grow, and finally wrap it all up with actionable takeaways. Sounds good? Grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it and keep that spark alive. Segment 1, the spark of curiosity. So let's kick things off by diving into the very essence of curiosity. You know, that feeling when something catches your eye, tickles your ear, or stirs something deep inside of you. And suddenly you're thinking, hey, I want to know more about that. That's curiosity in action. It's that initial spark, the gentle tug of a question like, what if? Or, how does this work? That pushes us to explore. Curiosity is so much more than a fleeting thought. It's a gateway, a bridge to our passions, our creativity, and even our purpose. Often, it's curiosity that nudges us towards paths we didn't even know we wanted to walk. I truly believe that those small moments of wondering can I ignite something that ends up shaping our lives in ways we couldn't even imagine. When you think about it, so many of the things we love today start with that spark. A hobby, a career, or even a relationship. These all have roots in a moment of curiosity. I want you to take a moment and think back. Can you remember a time when something seemingly insignificant, a passing thought, a casual observation, led you somewhere incredible? Speaking of life-changing sparks, I have a couple of listener stories that perfectly capture how curiosity can transform lives. First, there's Kate. She wrote to tell me about visiting a friend's house where she noticed an old dusty guitar tucked away in a corner. For no particular reason, she picked it up. It reminded her of when she used to play in college, just for fun. That little spark of curiosity inspired her to start practicing again. Now she's playing in a local band on weekends, and it's brought so much joy and creativity into her life. Isn't that amazing? One moment of curiosity reawakened something she loved and brought it back into her world. I love Kate's story because it's such a powerful reminder that curiosity often leads us back to ourselves. How many of us have left behind something we once loved, tucked away like that guitar, waiting for us to rediscover it? Then there's Matt. He wrote about his fascination with the languages. He have always thought it'd be fun to learn one, but he never really took it seriously until one day he downloaded a Spanish language app on a whim. That simple act snowballed into something incredible. A year later, Max found himself moving to Spain to fully immerse himself in the culture. He told me how curiosity led him to a vibrant new life filled with friendships, adventures, and a deep connection to a world he never knew he loved. Max's story is such a great example of how curiosity can bridge where we are now to a completely unexpected destination. What I love most is that he didn't overthink it. He wasn't trying to plan a international move. He just followed that spark. That's the beauty of curiosity. It doesn't demand certainty, only openness. And here's the thing. Curiosity doesn't have to start big. It can be as simple as asking, "What's that?" Or "How does this happen?" And it doesn't need an agenda or a guaranteed outcome. Sometimes the pure joy of exploring is the reward in itself. When we give ourselves permission to follow our curiosity, even in small ways, we open doors to new experiences, perspectives, and joys. I think about it like planting seeds. Every time we act on curiosity, whether it's trying a new recipe, picking up an old hobby, or learning about something new, we're planting a seed. We may not know what it'll grow into, but it has the potential to blossom into something amazing. So here's my challenge for you. What's one small thing you're curious about today? Maybe it's learning to bake bread, exploring a new walking route, or researching a topic that's been on your mind. Whatever it is, take a moment and follow that spark. You don't need to know where it'll lead. Just enjoy the process. In a world that often pushes us to focus on outcomes and achievements, curiosity gives us permission to explore without pressure. It's a reminder that life isn't only about reaching a destination, it's about wandering off the path and finding a joy in the unexpected. So here's to the spark of curiosity, to asking, what if and why not? Let it be your compass. I can't wait to see where it takes you. Segment number 2, breaking down barriers to curiosity. All right, we've got that spark going. Yes, we do. But here's the thing about curiosity. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy when it comes to following it. Yep, I'm talking about those fears, those doubts, and those little voices in our heads that go, "No, you can't do that." Or, "People might judge you for this." Isn't it wild how often we put up barriers to our own curiosity just because we're afraid of failing, looking silly, or even finding something out of our comfort zone? Those barriers can feel real and daunting, but the good news is we can push past them. One of the biggest obstacles to curiosity is fear. That's right, fear of failure, fear of judgment, and sometimes even fear of success. Sometimes we think we have to be perfect or highly skilled at something before we even start exploring it. But here's a reminder. Curiosity doesn't come with any expectations. You're allowed to explore without needing to be perfect at something. Curiosity gives you permission to experiment, to make mistakes, and to discover without pressure. It's almost like curiosity says, "Hey, let's just see where this goes," and leaves the rest up to us. Think about all the times you've stopped yourself from doing something just because you were afraid. Maybe you was curious about dancing, but worried about looking awkward on the dance floor. Or maybe you've wanted to learn a language but thought, I'd never be fluent. So why bother? It's so easy to let those fears talk us out of things that could actually bring us a lot of joy. But when we let go of the need to be perfect, we make space for curiosity to really shine. Now let's take a moment to focus on a couple of listener stories that I think are great examples of people breaking down those barriers to curiosity. First up, we have Sarah, who wrote in to tell me about her experience with food. Now, some of you might think this is small, but to Sarah, it was huge. She had always been a picky eater and avoided trying food from different cultures. It wasn't that she didn't want to try them. She just had this fear that she wouldn't like it or that she'll be out of her comfort zone. But one day, her friends invited her to try a new cuisine, and she decided, you know what? Let's go for it. She ended up loving it. And that one dinner sparked her curiosity about other foods and flavors. Now, she's got a list of new cuisines she wants to explore. She told me, it's funny because trying one new food made me feel braver about other things too. I love Sarah's story because it shows that sometimes breaking down barriers to curiosity doesn't have to be that massive, life-changing moment. It can start small with a simple yes to something different. When we give ourselves permission to follow our curiosity in one area, it can make us braver in other areas too. It's like opening a door to a more adventurous mindset, one little choice at a time. And then there's Liam, who sent in another fascinating story. He shared with me that he had always been interested in photography. He admired beautiful images, the way he captured moments, stories, and emotions. But he was convinced he'll never be good at it. He said, I just don't have an eye for that kind of thing. After some encouragement from his friends, though, he finally decided to give it a go. He brought a used camera and started taking photos. And you know what? He fell in love with it. Now he's out there creating beautiful art that he's proud of. He told me taking that first step was the hardest part, but once I did, I couldn't believe how much I loved it. Liam's story is a reminder that sometimes we're just one step away from discovering something that will light us up. But the first step can feel like the tallest mountain, can it? Especially when we're worried about being good enough or about what others might think. But here's the thing, curiosity isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about exploring for the sake of exploring. And the only way to know if something might be your thing is to try it. Think about how much richer our lives would be if we stopped letting fear hold us back. Instead of thinking, what if I fail? Or what if I'm not good at it? Let's start asking, what if I love it? Or what if it opens up a whole new world for me? That's what curiosity invites us to do. It invites us to stop worrying about the destination and just enjoy the journey. Here's a little exercise for everyone listening. Take a moment to think about one thing you've always been curious about, but haven't tried yet. Maybe it's an instrument you've always wanted to play, a skill you've always wanted to learn, or even a place you've always wanted to visit. Ask yourself, what's one small step I can take to start exploring this curiosity? It doesn't have to be huge. Just one step. Maybe it's signing up for a beginner's class, watching a tutorial, or talking to someone who's already doing it. And the next time that little voice says, "What if you fail?" I want you to answer it with, "What if I don't?" I want to remind you, beautiful people, don't let fear be the reason you don't follow your curiosity. There's a whole world out there waiting for you, and the only way to see it is to take that step. We only get this one life, right? So why not fill it with as many experiences as we can? Curiosity opens up doors we didn't even know existed. Think of it this way. You're standing in a hallway lined with doors, and each door has a label like fear, self-doubt, or judgment. Maybe you walk by each one. Imagine seeing a door with no label. It's a mystery, an invitation. And when you open it, you don't know what you'll find on the other side. But there's a thrill to that mystery, to the unknown. That's what following your curiosity feels like. Walking through a door not knowing exactly where it will take you, but trusting that wherever you end up, it'll add something meaningful to your life. It's important to remember that we're all a work in progress, and there's no perfect way to be curious or to explore something new. We don't need to wait until we're experts or until we have all the answers. Part of the fun is not knowing. Imagine if you only did things you knew you'd be perfect at. How limiting would that be? Some of the most incredible experiences come from stepping into something with no guarantees, just an open mind and a little courage. So let's make a pact. Let's make a pact right here and right now to stop letting fear be the loudest voice in the room. The next time you feel that pull of curiosity, follow it. It might not lead you where you expected, but it will lead you somewhere. And that's what matters. Every time we step beyond our comfort zones, we grow a little more into who we're meant to be. And that growth, that expansion, that's where the magic happens. Here's my challenge for you as we wrap up this segment. Pick one small curiosity and take a single step towards exploring it this week. It doesn't have to be big or even public. It could be as simple as picking up a book on a topic that interests you, watching a documentary, or experiment with a new recipe. Just one little step. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, and so does the journey of discovery. So here's to breaking down those barriers and giving ourselves permission to be curious. It's a reminder that life is too short to stay in our safe little boxes. There's a whole big world out there waiting for us to ask questions, to explore, to learn, and to grow. Here's to letting curiosity be our guide, one brave step at a time. Segment 3, Embracing the Unexpected. Now let's talk about one of my favorite things that curiosity does. It leads us to the unexpected. Sometimes we think we know exactly where we're going, and then, bam, curiosity pulls us in a totally different direction. And that's where the magic happens. Have you ever noticed how some of the best moments in life aren't the ones we plan? They're the surprises, the things that catches us off guard and make us think, wow, I didn't see that coming. And that's one of the gifts of curiosity. It takes us down paths we didn't even know were there. When we're curious, we're opening ourselves up to serendipity. We're saying, all right, world, I'm ready for whatever surprises you got for me. There's a special kind of freedom in letting go of rigid plans and allowing ourselves to explore. Curiosity gives us permission to be flexible, to pivot, and to embrace the unknown. And it's in those moments, those unplanned twists and turns, that we often find experiences that enrich our lives in ways we couldn't have imagined. I think we all can relate to the ideal of wanting control, though, right? We would like to know what's coming. We want to feel prepared, to have a plan. But when we're too focused on staying within the lines, we miss out on some pretty incredible stuff. It's like driving with tunnel vision. You see what's right in front of you, but you miss the beautiful scenery around you. Curiosity lets us pull back a bit, to widen our perspective, and to invite the unexpected. Let me share a story from Jordan, one of our listeners. She's a perfect example of how curiosity can lead us to places we never expected. Jordan wrote in to tell me about a random moment that ended up changing her life. She was at her local library one afternoon and saw a flyer for a volunteer group that did outreach in the community. Normally, she wouldn't have thought twice about it. She was busy with work, with family, with life in general. But something about that flyer caught her eye, and she thought, why not? Let's see what it's all about. So she went to the first meeting just to get a feel for it. That curiosity led her to a group of people who shared her values and her sense of adventure. Not only did she end up volunteering rarely with them, but they became some of her closest friends. Together, they've traveled to different parts of the world to do service work, building schools and helping communities in need. Jordan told me if someone had told her a year ago that a flyer at the library might lead her to a group of friends who are like family now, I wouldn't have believed it. But that's what happened because I followed my curiosity that day. Isn't that amazing? One small, seemingly random decision opened up a whole new chapter in her life. I love Jordan's story because it's such a perfect example of how curiosity invites us to take little leaps that can end up leading us to incredible places. And it's not always about grand gestures or big adventures either. Sometimes curiosity brings unexpected joy to our daily lives in simple, wonderful ways. Now I want to tell you about Thomas, another listener who shared his story with us, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of you. Thomas told me that he always been interested in dance, but had convinced himself that he just wasn't cut out for it. He said, I was too stiff, too clumsy, and definitely too self-conscious to dance in front of other people. But one day, he was walking by a dance studio, and on a whim, he signed up for a beginner's class. He said that at first, he was terrible. He tripped over his own feet, got the timing wrong, and felt completely out of place. But he stuck with it. Over time, that curiosity turned into something so much bigger. Dancing not only improved his physical health, but it also boosted his confidence in ways he never expected. He said, I used to feel so awkward and uncomfortable in my own skin, but dancing helped me connect with myself in a new way. It's become part of who I am. Isn't that beautiful? Curiosity didn't just give Thomas a new skill, it gave him a new perspective on himself. He started with a tiny bit of curiosity and ended up with something that made his life so much richer. Hearing stories like these, I feel so inspired. It's like a reminder that life has all these hidden treasures just waiting for us to find them. And curiosity is like our treasure map, leading us to those moments that might not be on a radar, but end up being exactly what we needed. It's almost like the universe has this way of rewarding us when we're willing to take a step into the unknown. We're all so busy trying to plan and predict our lives, but sometimes the best thing we can do is to let curiosity lead the way. So here's a thought for you. Is there an area in your life where you could be open to a little spontaneity? Maybe it's something small, like trying a new recipe just because it sounds fun or taking a different route on your morning walk. Or maybe it's something a little bigger, like taking a class on a topic you know nothing about, or saying yes to an invitation you normally turn down. Curiosity doesn't demand that we turn our lives upside down. It just asks us to be open, to let go of our need for control, even if it's just for a moment, and to trust that good things might come from stepping outside of our comfort zones. Here's the funny thing about curiosity. The more we follow it, the more we start to see that it's not just about finding answers or new experiences. It's about expanding who we are. Every time we say yes to something unexpected, we add a new layer to ourselves. We're growing, we're learning, and we're becoming more of who we're meant to be. And that's pretty powerful, don't you think? Imagine a life where every now and then you take a little detour. You don't know where it'll lead, but you trust that something good is waiting for you there. That's the spirit of curiosity. It's the willingness to say, I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm going to check it out anyway. So let's try something together. I want each of you to think about one area of your life where you can embrace a bit of spontaneity this week. Just one little thing that's outside of your normal routine. And it doesn't have to be something big or life changing. It could be trying a new hobby, talking to someone you don't know very well, or learning a random fact just because it's interesting. You never know where these small, curious moments might take you. And when you do that, remember curiosity is about the journey, not the destination. The goal isn't to become a master at whatever you're exploring. It's just to see where that curiosity might lead. Because even if it doesn't take you exactly where you thought you'd go, it might bring you somewhere even better. It's not about the final answer or the end result. It's about the process of discovery, of peeling back layers and seeing what lies beneath. So here's my challenge to you, beautiful listeners. Let curiosity be your guide. Let it pull you into the unknown, into those unexpected places that could end up being some of the best parts of your life. Embrace the adventure of not knowing, of letting go of the plan, and just being open to whatever might come your way. After all, life is too short to stick to a script, isn't it? Life is too short to stick to a script. And sometimes the best stories are the ones that unfold when we least expect them. Let's make this a week where we say yes to the unexpected, where we let curiosity guide us, even if just for a moment. Trust that whatever is on the other side of that door is meant to add something beautiful to your journey. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's not the carefully planned, predictable moments that we look back on with a smile. It's the surprises, the unexpected twists, the times we stepped off of the beaten path and found something wonderful waiting for us there. So go on, be brave, and let curiosity lead you to something amazing. Segment 4, Curiosity as we grow. So we've covered so much about curiosity already. How it sparks something magical in us, how it can break down barriers and even lead us to the unexpected. But what about as we grow older? Can we keep that same sense of wonder, that childlike curiosity alive throughout our lives? The answer is an enthusiastic, resounding yes. I mean, why should curiosity be something we only indulge in when we're young? If anything, I argue that as we grow older, curiosity has the potential to be even more powerful, even more profound. You know, curiosity doesn't expire with age. It doesn't have an end date. In fact, I think it often gets richer because we have so much more life experience to draw from. Every memory, every lesson, every triumph, and every mistake, they all add depth to our curiosity, making it a powerful tool for personal growth and joy. As we age, we're not losing our curiosity. Rather, we're adding layers to it, almost like adding colors to a beautiful painting that tells the story of our lives. Think about it. As adults, we have this incredible foundation built from years of living, learning, and growing. Our curiosity now is informed by our unique journey, by everything we've seen and experienced. And with that, we have the ability to dive deeper into topics that interest us, to pursue hobbies and passions with a richness and perspective that might not have been there in our younger years. Let me share with you Diane's story. Diane is one of our amazing listeners, and she's in her early 60s. She reached out to share how she recently took up painting, something she had never tried before. Diane told me that at first, she felt a bit silly, almost like she was too old to start a new hobby. Isn't that something a lot of us can relate to? I know I can. This voice in our head tells us we're too old or too set in our ways to try something new. But you know what? Curiosity won out for Diane, and it will for you too. She picked up those brushes, ordered a set of paints, and just went for it. And guess what? She has discovered a passion for painting that brings her so much joy, that makes her feel young again. Diane shared something really beautiful with me. She said, when I paint, I feel like I'm tapping into this creative part of myself that I had forgotten was there. It's like meeting a version of myself that I didn't know existed. Isn't that inspiring? I love that. Here's a woman in her 60s, someone who has probably experienced so many different phases of life, and now she's finding this whole new side of herself through her curiosity. And what I love even more is how she's proof that curiosity can breathe new life into us no matter our age. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that certain things are for younger people. We tell ourselves that creativity, exploration, trying new things, these are for those in their 20s or 30s. But that's just a myth, isn't it? Because curiosity knows no age. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the more we explore, the more we keep our minds active, our spirits young, and our hearts open to whatever life has to offer. Now, I have another story, this time from Jake. Jake is one of our younger listeners, and he wrote to tell me about his grandmother. Isn't it beautiful when curiosity can connect generations like that? So Jake's grandmother has this incredible passion for gardening. She's been growing her own vegetables and flowers for years, and she has the most amazing stories about each plant in her garden. Jake told me that for a long time, he didn't really understand why his grandmother cared so much about her garden. But one summer, he decided to spend more time with her, helping her in the garden, learning from her. Jake said that he started to see the world through her eyes a little bit, and that was such a gift. His grandmother taught him the names of different plants, showed him how to tend to each one of them, and shared her passion for the process of planting, growing, and nurturing life. That curiosity turned into a shared passion between them, and it became a beautiful way for them to bond. Jake wrote, "My grandmother taught me that curiosity doesn't have to be big or flashy. It can be quiet, steady, and incredibly meaningful." Gardening with her taught me patience, care, and respect for nature. I love Jake's story because it shows how curiosity can be this beautiful shared experience. It's not always about solo adventures or finding something new. Sometimes it's about connecting with others, about learning from someone else's passion, and seeing how it can shape our own perspectives. Isn't that a powerful reminder of how curiosity has this way of weaving our lives together, of creating connections that last? So whether you're young or wise with age, whether you're on your first big adventure or your 100th, don't let anyone tell you it's too late to explore new passions. Let curiosity keep you young at heart, because when we stay curious, we're saying yes to growth, to discovery, and to the endless possibilities that life has to offer. Every time we try something new or dig a little deeper into something we love, we're adding new chapters to our story, new colors to our lives. Think about it like this. Each time, each moment is an invitation. It's a chance to explore, to ask questions, to follow a hunch, or to try something that catches your interest. And there's something so freeing about that, don't you think? To know that we're not bound by our age or our past experiences, but that we can keep growing, keep learning, and keep discovering at any point in our lives. It's never too late to let curiosity lead us to somewhere new. So if you're listening right now and you've been feeling that little nudge, that whisper of curiosity, I want you to take it seriously. It doesn't matter if it's a small quad interest or a big bold dream. Follow it. Let it take you somewhere you haven't been before. Maybe it's learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or diving into a topic you've always been interested in but never had the time to explore. Or maybe it's just as simple as reaching out to someone or asking questions or sharing stories. Remember, life is a journey, and curiosity is our compass. It points us towards growth, towards understanding, and towards the things that make us feel alive. And as we grow older, we get the chance to dive even deeper, to explore with a sense of freedom and purpose that comes from all the years we've lived. It's such a gift to be able to continue growing, to keep adding to the richness of our lives. So let's embrace that. Let's be curious today, tomorrow, and every day after that. Curiosity isn't just for the young. It's for the young at heart. It's for those who believe that life still has more to show us, more to teach us, and more to experience. So here's my challenge to you, my beautiful listeners. Think of one area of your life where you can let curiosity in just a little bit more. Maybe it's something you've always wanted to try, or something you've been curious about for years but never took the plunge. Or maybe it's something new, something you hadn't thought about until today. Whatever it is, go for it. Let that curiosity be your guide. Segment 5, Staying Curious and Taking Action. All right, we've been on an amazing journey together, and I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am right now. We've covered so much ground in this episode, and it's been a joy to dive into the many ways curiosity can shape, empower, and enrich our lives. As we wrap things up, I want to take a moment to look back at the key takeaways from each segment and really reflect on how we can bring this beautiful curiosity into our daily lives. Let's start from the beginning. Remember when we talked about the spark of curiosity? This is where it all begins. That initial feeling, that question that lights something up inside of us. We talked about how curiosity can start as a tiny spark, a fleeting thought, a small question, but that spark can lead us somewhere profound. Kate's story of picking up an old guitar and finding a new passion in music was the perfect example. And then there was Max, who started learning Spanish out of pure curiosity, only to find himself living a life he'd never imagined in Spain. The takeaway here, listen to those little nudges. When something piques your interest, don't ignore it. Follow it, even if you don't know where it'll lead. Sometimes it's the smallest curiosities that lead us to the biggest changes. Then we move into breaking down barriers to curiosity. And wow, was that a powerful segment? We talked about those voices in our heads, the ones that can be so quick to say, you can't do that, or you're not good enough for that. But here's the truth we uncovered together. Curiosity doesn't come with expectations of perfection. We're allowed to be messy, to be a beginner, to stumble along the way. It's about letting go of the fear of failure and judgment and giving yourself permission to explore just for the sake of it. Remember Sarah, who was so scared to try new foods but ended up discovering a love for new cuisines? Or Liam, who hesitated to start photography because he thought he would be terrible, only to find a new creative passion. These stories remind us that curiosity requires courage. It takes bravery to try, to be okay with imperfection, and to just enjoy the journey. Next up, embracing the unexpected. This is one of my favorite aspects of curiosity, and I could feel your energy through the airways as we talked about it. Curiosity can take us on paths that we never would have chosen for ourselves, and that's where the magic happens. Jordan's story of volunteering on a whim ended up introducing her to lifelong friends and opportunities to travel and make a difference. How inspiring was that? And Thomas, who hesitated to join a dancing class but found himself transformed by the experience. The message here is that curiosity opens us up to life's surprises. It allows us to let go of rigid plans and to embrace the joy of spontaneity. Sometimes it's those unexpected twists that bring the greatest fulfillment and growth. And then we dove into curiosity as we grow, exploring the beautiful truth that curiosity doesn't fade with age. In fact, it can deepen and grow richer over time. Diane's journey with painting in her 60s reminded us that it's never too late to discover new passions. And Jake's story about bonding with his grandmother over gardening was such a lovely example of how curiosity can bridge generations. The big takeaway: curiosity keeps us young at heart. It helps us stay open, stay connected, and continue growing no matter where we are in life. Age is no barrier to curiosity. If anything, it gives us a beautiful foundation on which to build even more wonder. So here we are, friends. We looked at how curiosity sparks, how it requires bravery, how it brings the unexpected, and how it stays with us through our lives. And now we're at the final piece of the puzzle: taking action on your curiosity. Because at the end of the day, all the curiosity in the world doesn't mean much unless we're willing to act on it. Here's the beautiful thing about curiosity: it's always there, just waiting for us to give it a bit of attention, a bit of love. It's that quiet voice that says, "What if?" Or "How does that work?" Or "I wonder what would happen if." So, what's something you're curious about right now? Maybe it's big, like exploring a new career path. Or maybe it's small, like trying a new recipe from a different culture. Or reading a book on a subject you've never thought about before. Whatever it is, take a small step towards it today. It doesn't have to be a big leap, just something tiny: a Google search, a chat with a friend, a visit to the library, or a quick doodle on a napkin. Take that spark and give it a little bit of fuel. As we close out today's episode, here's my call to you, my beautiful, curious listeners. Don't let your curiosity stay idle. Act on it. Embrace it. Let it lead you somewhere new, even if it's just for a moment. Each step you take, each new experience you allow yourself to try, builds on the last. And soon you'll find yourself looking back on a journey filled with surprises, growth, and discovery, all because you dared to follow that little spark. And one more thing: if you enjoyed today's episode, if you felt inspired or motivated, it would mean the world to me if you leave a 5-star rating, share with a friend, or even just send me a message with your own curiosity stories. Let's keep this community of wonder alive and thriving, because curiosity isn't just something we experience alone. It's something we share, something that binds us together. So let's keep that spark alive together. Thank you all for being here, for letting me be part of your journey. Remember, stay curious, take action, and let life surprise you. Stay wonderful and keep shining, friends. I'll see you soon. Until next time on Energize Your Passion, this is Sunshine, signing off.